Hey there, my name's Richard Lang and I'm the founder of Spoke. We get asked questions about what makes Spoke personalized to me, or how does Spoke give me the flexibility in my training. So in this video, I wanted to walk you through our approaches and our methods and highlight key features that help answer those questions for you. And there's something to bear in mind. What we're going to be walking through today may be slightly different to, say, when you download the app in 3 months' time. We're always working on new improvements and tweaks and just thinking about how we can make Spoke more personalized, flexible, and simple to use. So let's dig in. So first off, I just want to be walking you through the onboarding process that leads into the plan builder. So when you sign up, you'll put your name, your email, and your password, etc. And you'll start entering some basic information about yourself. You know, what's your age, your weight, you know, how often do you ride, your experience level, and then you'll get taken to this step. So it's about connecting your accounts. So it's really important to connect your accounts before you start your first ride, because then that allows you to pull in your data. And so Spoke talks to Strava, Training Peaks, Garmin, and Wahoo. So this gives you the ability to push all your personalized sessions into your Garmin or your Wahoo, or even ride it in Swift and other devices by leveraging the Training Peaks API. So just for now, I'm just going to sort of skip this, and then you'll be taken to the last step of the onboarding process. And this is where you get asked, do you want to build your own plan? So if you're not quite sure what you want to do, you tap Get Started Now. But if you have a goal in mind, or you want to explore the Spoke plans, well, then you'd say, I want to build my own. So you tap on that, and there's essentially 5 steps to building your plan. So you get asked, what type of goal do you want to be working towards? So do you want to be working towards an event? So this is, say, I've got a road race, or I've got an Alpine Sportif, or I've got a criterium, or you just want to work on an element of your cycling. So this is like, I want to be working on my, say, FPT, or I just want to beat my mates, or I want to become more powerful on the bike. So let's just say we'll pick an event, and we want to, say, we've got some virtual racing, you know, got to do some racing around, say, Christmas time. The priority, we want to sort of keep that, may say it's a medium, it's not super high, because it's important not to have too many high priorities throughout the year, because otherwise you'd be sort of, you know, peaking, you know, 3 times and never really getting like some really sort of serious training blocks in there. But one thing that you'll notice probably by the time you watch this video is that there's going to be another element to this step. So we've got started on and plan next, is that we'll have suggested hours, and that's tied to plan ambition and plan level. So just say for virtual racing, there'll be 3 levels. So it's to be expert, intermediate, and beginner. And then do you want to be racing, or do you want just to improve or want to enjoy? Because what those 2 sort of variables do there, that starts suggesting how many hours should I be riding per week. So we tend to give you a 2-hour range with a number of suggested rest days. So continuing through the plan builder process, we'll ask you, what days do you want to train on? And this is something you can edit anytime throughout the training week. So just for now, just to get through, we'll sort of toggle on 2 days. And what you can also do is that we have 3 types of activities. We have a plan ride, which is like a Spoke structured ride, that this is where you can export into, Training Peaks or Garmin, Wahoo, or we have a free ride. And this tends to be, a coffee ride, or you go ride with your mates, where you're more just logging the intensity of the ride and the duration, and then your plan work fits around that. And it's the same principle for other activities. So you may have a gym session or a running session. And again, it's about logging these non-cycling activities that affect your cycling workload. And then it's making sure that the plan work that you do, the structured work you do, is suited to those free rides and other activities. And we'll just carry on to the next step. And this is where with Spoke, you can either train by feel. So if you know your FTP, awesome, or train by heart rate. Or lastly, you can just simply train by feel. So that's a simple RPE scale of 1 to 10. And then on the last step, something really unique to Spoke that makes the plans personalized to you. So we're really a big believer of having these personal feedback loops. So it's about asking you how you're physically feeling and how you're mentally feeling. Because what these 2 questions will do here, it will say, okay, if you're mentally stressed and you're physically knackered, well, the first week of your training plan is going to be a recovery week. But if you are pretty good, well, then there's no need to introduce a recovery week. We know you can just start off straight away, or if you're just sort of pretty average, we'll just reduce the top line intensity. So once you've entered those values, you tap build plan, and then Spoke builds your personalized plan for you. And once you've built your personalized plan, you'll be asked to tap done, and then you'll be asked there's three sort of top steps, or sort of three sort of next steps that you need to implement. So it's about one, connecting your accounts if you haven't, then checking out your first session. So it's about understanding what do you need to sort of ride this week. And then obviously you can set up your schedule. And this is something that you can edit anytime throughout the week. So once you've finished the plan builder process, you'll be taken to the home screen. And I guess you could say the home is the sort of central place where you can sort of check what you have coming up, complete your health stats, check out your readiness. Now, if we were to dig into a Spoke session, so let's go to Saturday. I have a plan ride, which is a Spoke structured ride, and we dig into it. So at the top here, you can export your ride. So once your accounts are connected, you can push it to all the Training Peaks, Garmin, etc. You can move a ride, so you can move it to any day of the week. And then you can obviously edit. So just say something's come up, it was an hour, but now I only can train for half an hour. You can simply edit that duration. And obviously you can skip the ride. Things pop up. Sometimes you just can't complete the session. You can skip it, and that sort of marks it like to Spoke to, hey, I can't complete the session for today. But if we're just to sort of walk through it all, we know it's a 1 hour ride. It's a difficulty of 5 out of 10. And an effort points of 42. So generally, difficulty sort of 1 to 10, and effort points is sort of 1 to about 100. If you're sort of starting to see 90 effort points, that's about a 9 out of 10 ride. And the thing is, if you are riding this session on the road, yes, you can export it into your Garmin and Wahoo. But what's really important to note is what is the cumulative time that you have to hit in each zone. So we can see here, zone 5, I've got to hit 5 minutes and 50 seconds. So depending on the route that you do, you maybe only need to get, you can only squeeze in, say, a 2-minute hill. You do that, you might do that twice, and then you might get the remaining 1 minute 50, somewhere else, and it's okay. The key here is to be flexible when you're riding structured training outdoors. But we can dig into the workout steps, we can group them, we can view the zones, and then right at the bottom here is that you have a focus on an overall. And this sort of relates to what is the key focus zone for that session. So we know that we've got to focus on, is that zone 5, what does that help us with? Last time we didn't ride this session too well, but we don't want to when you start, don't get carried away. You get up to speed quickly. You're not doing a max sprint. A lot of things that when we ride a zone 5 effort is that we might start too hard and then it starts to fade. It's about being really conservative but aggressive when you're riding these efforts. Now, when it comes to completing a session, so you've exported this, you go out and ride it, you come back into Spoke, you go to this session, and then you tap complete session. So we'll ask you here, how did this session feel? So Spoke gives it a 5. What do you give it? Is it a 9? Is it a 10? And this is about understanding a couple of things. Is that one, how is the fatigue building up? And 2, how are your zones? Because if they say, 5 points difference, well, are your zones sort of set too high? And then, once it's pushed to say Strava, Garmin, pulls in your data and you select it from the drop down and then you tap done. So we can see here that I gave a perceived difficulty of 10. Spoke only gave it a 5. It's asking me, hey, do I want to reduce my FTP? And I said, mate, I've just maybe had an off day today, so no thanks. So digging into sort of 3 key elements here, we have the breakdown, so the time and zones. So we can sort of see how closely we followed the work. The ride effort. So obviously there was 42 effort points and we actually rode 43. So we go spot on. But something that you'll notice is that, let's just say you have a 1 hour ride of zone 2 and that's say 30 effort points. And you do a 1 hour ride of say, only just 20 minutes, but it's zone 3 and that's still 30 effort points. So what you'll see there is that the effort points are the same, but something really unique to Spoke is that we give you an average zone accuracy. So we can see here, yes, I followed the plan quite well, but if you did that 20-minute zone 3 when it was meant to be a zone 2, well, then your accuracy would be super low. So from a high level perspective, you can sort of see how much effort you're putting in and how closely you're following the plan. And these sort of 2 features here actually ties into the next feature that we're going to be releasing soon called training rating. And this is all about helping you identify progress without hitting a PB metric. So it's about understanding how closely, from the suggestion to the plan, your plan to your actual. So in terms of your weekly volume, your training time. And then we look at your training effort, plan versus actual, and then also the accuracy, how close are you following the plan, and it'll give you a single score for how well you're doing. Because this is about trying to identify the processes that lead to you becoming a fitter and faster bike rider. Now, if we're to move out of the post session and just sort of move through the platform, we have home. And on home, we have a readiness score. So the readiness score is about trying to help you identify how well am I feeling today? And the data that you give to the readiness score is one, your training data, but also it's about completing your health stats. So we ask, how many hours have you slept? How long did it take you to go to sleep? And how did you wake up through the night? This little question here, we're going to be sort of tweaking this in the next couple of weeks, where we're just going to be asking you, how long did you sleep for? And then just have a sliding scale for the quality 1 to 10. So let's just say I've accepted them. And again, every day you're inputting your physical and your mental state. So I'll submit that. And then we can sort of see here, okay, I've got a readiness of 91. I'm ready today. I'm feeling right up for it. But if we're to dig into it, so we can sort of see high level, I'm a score of 91. Want to look at my history. So this is a roll in 7 days. But of course, you can sort of scroll down and check out all the other days in the past. And the 5 variables that drive this score is recovery. So recovery is looking at your training workload in a sort of 5-day workload to a 14-day baseline. So we can see here, I've got a score of 91. My baseline's 100%. So I've been recovering quite well. I haven't been doing too much training. If we look at the other variables, so sleep quality, sleep time, physical freshness, mental freshness, everything's excellent. I've been sort of a very good student, so to speak. We see my sleep quality is above the optimum range. So the optimum range is the scientific benchmark, what you should be striving for. And so overall, my baseline, my 14-day workload is above the optimum. So that reflects that I'm going to have a high positive score. And then we can look at what was my actual value, which is the quality. But if we look at the contribution, we can see how much my sleep quality contributes to my overall readiness score. And if I'm just to move out of readiness and look at other areas of the platform, we have a Discord community. So if you have any questions or feedbacks or any sort of worries here, you can ask a question in the Discord community, and it's either myself or a couple of the team members can help support you with those queries. And then the other elements is you've got your My Week. So you can sort of scroll and sort of see from a high level, what do you have on? And obviously you can edit your training week anytime throughout the week and keep the training personalized and flexible to you. So let's just say on Friday, I've got a session coming up. My mate has asked me, I've got to go do a bunch ride. So I'm going to tap free ride. It's going to be, say, 2 hours. It's going to be pretty hard. We always get carried away. And then you have 2 options for how you can update your week. You have these changes only. So you use these changes only if you like something at the back end of the week, you like this workout. However, you use recalculate week if you want to update your whole week as a whole. So what recalculate week does, it looks at what you've written so far, and it looks what you have sort of planned, looks at what you're going to be putting in for this week, and then it taps update. So what you'll notice here is that once you've tapped recalculate week, the rest of the week sort of changes, and obviously you'll notice the difficulty levels sort of fluctuate. Because our approach to the weekly balance is all about trying to get, that balance between the volume that you set and the intensity that you ride that is aligned to what your goal is, your age, and what training phase that you're in. So once you've completed all your sessions for the week, well, then this is where you would submit your week. And this is where you can see next week's training. And what happens at the submit week process is that we start looking at 5 variables that adjust your training plan and keeps it personalized to you. So we look at the time and zone, so the plan versus actual. We look at the perceived difficulty, the plan versus actual, the free rides, the plan rides, other activities. And then we look at your sleep quality, your sleep time, your mental freshness, and your physical freshness. So it's those 5 core variables is what either scales up or down the time and zones that you have planned for next week. So let's just say you override zone 5 this week. Well, that's going to have a greater impact on your training plan next week compared to, say, doing too much zone 2. Also, there's something that's almost going to be a pro version, is that we have a thing called adaptive mode. And in adaptive mode, this is where your training plan can adjust daily based on your completed session. So if you override something or underride something, well, then the rest of the week will be updated. And now, just slowly wrapping up things, I just wanted to walk you through the last 2 pages. One is progress. Progress is high-level progress stats. You have written so far, which is just basic, your distance, your time, your elevation. Average zone accuracy for the plan, so how closely are you following the plan overall. You got your plan overview, so you can sort of see how hard each week will be and how it fluctuates through the phases. And then your recent milestones, so you can tap on that. You can see power and heart rate milestones, where's your weaknesses, where's your strengths, and then dig into the top 10 of each milestone. So say 5-minute power, and then you can dig into the top 5-minute power. Now, if your file is corrupt and geez, I did 5-minute power, I didn't ride 4,000 watts, well, then you can just simply edit that value by tapping edit. And then the last one is plans. So plans here is where you don't like the plan, you want to rebuild your plan from scratch, which is all good, but you can also add your goal. Things come up, new goals come up, so you can just simply add that in and then to build almost like a season builder. So you may have your Alpine Sportif in May, you may have a crit in July, and then you might have another large Sportif in October. And you can just simply add those goals in, and Spoke will sort of join those goals and make sure you're riding the right type of phases in the lead up to those goals. You can dig into your goal reports and obviously check your plan overview. So that's Spoke in a nutshell. I hope you've got an understanding of how Spoke keeps the training plan personalized and flexible, and how we keep things simple and easy to use. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below, or you can always reach out to me at rich@spoke.ai. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks.